Okay, let me start out by introducing myself. I'm a product just like you, an educational product just like you of South Florida. Graduated from Miami-Dade and FIU. I've heard a lot of people have signed up from MDC and FIU. Let me see a show of hands. Who signed up? That's pretty good. Let me subscribe and like your choice. Okay. Actually, MDC and FIU are really great schools, so I really challenge you guys to consider it. Okay, let's start out the reason how I got here and why I'm actually here. It actually started out when I was around 6, and I had a passion for 3 things. I had a passion for drawing, I had a passion for helping people or beings that I didn't feel were getting their cause out there. I kept seeing people for cancer, other things, causes getting out there, diabetes, this and that. And as a 6-year-old, I was thinking animals, disabled animals like my neighbor's pet without a leg wasn't getting any attention, or factory farm animals. So as a 6-year-old, I thought, well, since my other passion was drawing, and my favorite language within the drawing field was pointillism from Seurat. So I felt that if I started making posters and drawings, I would get some attention. So that's how I started. I started making posters and drawings about animals that I thought needed special needs. So then my life came to a full circle as a professional, as an artist, and as a mom when I had a daughter, and my daughter, Lisa, somewhere around here, got diagnosed with autism within the spectrum disorder. So everything just became clear. Now you guys are the professionals, the medical professionals of the future. Who knows what autism is? Let me see a show of hands. Let me have some enthusiasm. Okay, good. And what it is to be called diagnosed that you're within the spectrum disorder. Okay, you guys need to go home and Google it today. I'm gonna give you some homework. Do that. And the reason is because 1 out of 88 children today that are being born today are diagnosed within the spectrum disorder. So chances are that if you're going to be in the medical field, you're going to deal with this, whether in one end or the other end. So one of the other things that I wanted to let you know about autism and Asperger's is that people with autism and Asperger's are people like you and me. And they deserve the same respect than you and me. They might act a little quirky, a little different, and they might give you answers that sometimes are like offbeat or things like that. But guess what? A lot of them are very smart. And most of them have a very beautiful brain. So one of the things that I want you to get out of just being here today, that we were able to get out of class, is that people with autism have a beautiful brain. Sometimes we might not understand what they want to say or what message they want to tell us, but they do have a beautiful brain. Then from then, I'm going to move about, I want to know how many of you know what causes autism. The few that answered, that thought they knew what autism was. Do you have an idea of what causes autism? Well, good. Not really, but you're in there. Anybody else?
Missing chromosomes.
No. Okay, so far we have tons of research, as it is for everything. Right now we have research about drinking coffee, drinking not enough coffee, drinking wine, not drinking wine, stuff like that. So obviously something that is hitting our society as much right now. There's tons of research, and every research generates different answers. So one of the 2 answers that from all the researches that I have read, there's 2 answers that keep popping up. And one is the amygdala. You guys are a medical school. Who knows what the amygdala is? Okay, another homework. You're gonna go home and Google amygdala. Okay. You're gonna go home and Google amygdala. Okay. Now, another of the second reasons, another of the common things that comes across in all the researchers, in all the research, I should say, is that there is, in the cerebral circuits, they're missing populations of cells in the autistic brain. So when we take scans, brain scans of a person that doesn't have autism and a brain scan of someone that does have autism, and we do it with iodine contrast, which comes out in red, or sometimes it comes out in blue. Now we have different shades of contrast. We even have gold contrast. So you'll see that there's missing populations of cells in the cerebral circuits. So that's another cause for autism. That seems to be a common link. So again, I hope you go home and you Google all of this information, because again, you're going to be having to deal with all of this. Because again, 1 out of 88 children that are being born today are being within the spectrum. They're being born within the spectrum. So let's talk about something else now. Another message that I want you guys to get from this, since you guys are in the medical field. As of yet, we don't have a cure. So the best cure that we have available, which is one of the top reasons why I'm here, is awareness. So there is not one shot like for diabetes or for other kind of situations. There's not one thing that can cure autism. As of yet, there's none. Hopefully one of you guys are going to come up with a cure, and I'm going to be back in a couple of years from now, and I'm going to be here sitting next to you and hear about the cure that you guys came up with. And I'm going to be very happy. Okay, but as of yet, the best cure that we have is causing awareness. So creating awareness of autism, how does that help? Well, it helps because the earliest intervention is the best help. If you don't get help for your child when they're 3 or 4 and they're autistic, you're not gonna be able to get the same kind of help, or you're not gonna be able to get the same. You're not gonna get the same results as if you get help for them when they're 11. So the earliest intervention is the best cure. Awareness and earliest intervention that we have right now as of yet. So another thing is, don't feel bad if you see someone within your family. Statistics, according to the statistics, if 1 out of 88 children that are being born today are born within the spectrum, chances are that you're going to have a cousin, a brother, a sister, a neighbor, someone that you know in your family member that has some sort of autism. So please, don't be afraid. Take a step forward. Be brave and say to the parents, to the people in charge of that child, say, I'm noticing some red flags. Do you think you can please go to his or her doctor and check him out? Most of the time, I gotta advise you, the parents are not gonna take it well. They're not gonna be happy that you mentioned this, okay? Because that has been my experience. Parents usually are not very willing to accept that their child has autism. But in the end, they're going to appreciate it. Maybe not this year or next year, but maybe in 3 or 4 years from now, they will, because they're going to have to face the fact that the child has autism, whether it is in school, in the doctor, or hopefully not with law enforcement. So we want to avoid that, especially since you're in medical school. There's so many things that you can do, and one of the things that you can do is as well as spreading the message, is making sure that those children get the help. And when you're 3, when you're 4, which is when autism starts to come out of the shell, you can't get help for yourself. It's not like if you're 20 and you feel that you have a pain in your leg and you can say, Mom, can you take me to the doctor? Or you can walk yourself to the doctor. If you're 3 or 4 and autism is starting to come out on you, there's nothing you can do. And if your parents are not helping you, then you got to take it upon yourselves, people like you that are within the medical field, to go forward and tell the parents, I'm looking at these red flags. Do you think you can please take them to the proper doctor and just have the child check out? As I said, they might not be happy about it, because most people like to live in denial when it comes to things like that, but eventually they will be grateful. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is that some people, the reason why they don't want to accept that their child has autism is because they think that they're just going to drown within this hole of autism, and that's not necessarily the case. If I was able to make it as a single mom, anybody can make it. There's a lot of help out there. There's therapists that are paid, that you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. They're paid by most insurances, including Medicaid. There's therapists that can help the child with a lot of the little quirks that autism brings out. There's shadows that you can take them to school, and they can be right next to the child and make sure that the child can get the help they need, so that they don't first interrupt the class, which is a big problem, because when a child is interrupting the class, the teacher is not able to focus on the rest of the class, and all of you are going to be distracted. So if the child has a shadow, the child is going to be able to get the attention that they have. You guys are going to be able to get the attentions that you need, and the teacher is going to be able to be more productive. So there's a lot of help, and parents need to know that. And it's free. It's not going to cost them anything. Even Medicaid helps for these services. Now, there's even transportation for people that have autism. So there's a lot of help, as I said. So they don't need to be afraid. So when you are ready to take that step and say, hey, uncle, I think my cousin, I see some check marks that it's like, looks like may have autism or may need to be checked out. Also give them a little bit of hope. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of help. It's not just about medication like some people think, which medication can be an option for a lot of people, but other people are afraid or against medication. But that's also an option. Again, medication is not a cure. What medication does is it helps with some of the symptoms of autism. Usually autism comes in, if I can just give you like a visual of how autism spectrum is. Think of it as a rainbow and the different beautiful colors of the rainbow. It starts out over here with Asperbers, which is what they call the better part of autism, which is people that have usually a higher IQ than most people in one subject area. They have a higher IQ than most people, but they lack in social skills and they lack in other areas. So they might have a really high social skills for let's say writing, researching, computers, 3 or 4 things, and then they might lack totally in math. Aside from that, they have their little atypical behaviors, which they might need to always be hanging on to a string, hanging on to a little rubber band, maybe while they're looking at you, going around and twirling their hair, while they're sitting down, moving one foot, keep moving their glasses, having little twerks like that. However, the fact that you do something different and that you are different doesn't make you an outcast. Being different can be a good thing. We don't want everybody in society to be the same. It'll be a pretty boring society if everybody was exactly the same. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is that I made this specific inspired by autism and by my daughter's autism, which, by the way, she has Asperger's. She has a very high IQ in some subject areas, and then she's lacking in math and social skills. Okay, so inspired by her behavior and the behavior of some of her friends, I've made this series totally inspired by autism and Asperger's. Within the language, I use the language to express my art of our child working and pointillism and a little bit of Goya, because I feel that Goya was trying to expose the ills and follies of what was going on within his time, and in a way I kind of feel close to what he was trying to do, because a lot of people don't want to see what I want to show, in the sense of giving a chance to people with autism or people with special needs. So I have some of the imagery that you're going to see are about the ups and downs. I don't want to make any of you late. So some of the imagery that I have are about the ups and downs and the feeling, the euphoria that comes with having autism and Asperger's, which is the, I'm so happy, I can conquer the world, okay? And then the down that goes with it, okay? And then eventually the meltdown, then eventually the guilt, okay? So some of them reflect the feelings, and some of them reflect scans, brain scans that I've been studying endlessly. So without further ado, if you want to ask any questions, because I don't want you to miss your bus, and I also would like you guys to come and see my artwork if you want. Also, I have a video in YouTube. I have actually several videos in YouTube. I have 7 videos about animal rights, because I also, besides my daughter Lisa, I also have 2 disabled chihuahuas. So I have 7 videos about that, and I also have the video about autism. So I encourage you to please, and I actually would like, if you go to YouTube, that's why I posted my name in a lot of places. Carrie Ochoa. All you need to do, I would totally appreciate it if you just went to YouTube and just log on to Carrie Ochoa and press like and subscribe, so that we can keep the message moving of autism. Okay? Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I know my daughter Lisa wanted to say a couple words before you go get your bus, and she wanted to show you her artwork. So Lisa, maybe behind the podium might not be the best idea. Maybe you can stand right next to it.
Or maybe you can stand by your art.
Or maybe you can stand by your art. No, you want to stand here? Okay, you want to talk about...
Hi, my name is Lisa Chua. I have autism. I'm known as Asperger's, but that's okay. People with Asperger's have a beautiful mind. I'm so concerned about things that are happening around the world. Some are bad, some are good. You know why? Because, you know why? I think autism is the best thing you should ever have. But I don't feel like it because I want to get rid of it. Like Mother Teresa, the little flower. You know the Mother Teresa with the little flower that cures OCD and autism? I learned that in research.